Now let's have a look at SELINUX booleans. Of course, we'll first discuss what booleans are and why we need them, and then we'll see how to list them and check their current status, and we will look at how to activate them temporarily or permanently, and finally we'll perform a practical example. Now, to talk about what SELINUX booleans are, it might be an idea to make a comparison with a real-life situation. So forget about SELINUX for a bit, and let's say there's a security company that hires out security officers to customers that need to secure their environment. So for example, the officers can check the gates and they can check the lights. And this is all they can do. So it's a fixed or static list of checks. So some company needs security and hires this officer to check the gates and check the lights. And it's all fine. The checks are done and everybody's happy. But then the next company also needs to check the internet traffic. And since the current list does not support that, the security company will have to build a complete new list of checks before it can send the security officer with the list to the new customer company. And what if the third company needs the gates checked but not the lights and not the internet traffic? What do we do then? Or when the first company decides it would also like to do some internet traffic checks? This would mean that the security officers would have to be supplied with new lists every time that there is a change. So to make a long story short, it might be an idea to create a list that holds many common checks. So the security company builds a list with checks for gates, lights, internet traffic, screening personnel, checks for locks on doors, etc. So there will be a single list that holds all of these checks. And then in addition to that, the checks can be activated or deactivated. So they can be enabled or disabled, set to on, set to off, or whatever you want to call it. So the advantage of this would be that the list needs no rebuild, because the checks can be activated or deactivated. This list could be compared to the SELINUX policy, and the checks then would be the rules that are either enabled or disabled. So these would be the booleans. So let's return to SELINUX and start managing SELINUX booleans.